welcome back everybody to Phlox'em. I was not going to do a recording this week because I'm working just so many hours. But watching Zach and them doing their games kind of got me motivated to try and get one in, so we're just going to try and do one or two here. And this is going to be with the Deusillus deck, which I teased in the last video, talked a little bit about even on their stream today. So I didn't get really a ton of decks in the big sale from Asmodee. For me, it was a lot, but for a lot of other people, like a couple displays is not um, anything too crazy, especially at $1 deck. But I did have kind of a wish list of what I was hoping to find, and I've gotten so many things on my wish list. It's kind of crazy. I didn't have hardly any Mavericks, and I've pulled so many Mavericks, including 2 exchange officers that are all both exchanged with the same creature. In 2 different decks, I got an exchange officer exchanged with a Perfectus Ludo. It's pretty crazy. I think I opened those like right after each other because that's just how displays are. So I got those. I got probably my first like fairly competitive deck. I still haven't tested it yet to see, but just something that looks much more versatile and higher tier than anything I've opened before. I don't love doing secondary market. I'll do it for something that's kind of funky or just like really matches my playstyle or whatever, but I don't know. I really want to open something that's good because I really enjoy the personal nature of the decks. But then another thing on my wish list was a Deusillus deck, which is just crazy that I found one. I've only opened 11 mass mutation decks, and one of them was one of these. Um, I don't. I still don't have a Niflkong. I would love to get one of those too at some point, but for some reason Deusillus was just the one that really stuck out to me. And I think it's because people don't play it very much, and I'm really drawn to kind of making things work that people don't like, and maybe I just don't play against the people that are playing them. But I think like um, Ultra Graviton is really the one that most people gravitate to because it gives you that efficiency. It's a very good creature. And it's paired with Logos, which means you have a better chance of being able to play it anyways because you have that efficiency to get 2 of those 3 cards. And then Niflkong, I feel like, is either not good or pretty good. And so you still see it in some decks because the pretty good ones, like it's pulling those Nifl creatures out of the deck. Those usually have like enhancements or stuff that really actually make that Niflkong much more of a threat. Especially paired with something like Resurgence and Troop Call and stuff, it can be really good. And so I think because of that, Deusillus, like, it's still a cool creature. It's one of the flagship like art creatures of the set, but I personally just feel like I don't play against it much, and I love it. I love what it does. I love the art. I love just the idea of it. It's just so awesome. It's just a giant dinosaur wreaking havoc, and that's kind of what it does. And so that was definitely on my wish list, and I got one. So now I have a Deusillus deck, and it was actually a pretty decent deck. I couldn't wait until recording to actually get a couple games in with this. So I've played a few already, and um, it's pretty mean. It has the Logos, which means I actually have a good chance of playing Deusillus. I think in every game I've played with this deck, I've actually pulled Deusillus and played it, which is pretty crazy. But obviously the Logos helps a lot. We've got Mobius Scroll, which I think is probably the most useful in terms of making that specific combo happen. Daughter, 2 of the bots. We've got a Q-Mech. Academy Training is more draw, but it's also really dirty to put on Deusillus. Like the turn after you play it, just go back into Logos, keep getting that efficiency, but then use your Deusillus to remove Amber, draw cards, or just fight stuff if you want. So that's a pretty fun one to have on here. Kurzap is really good, just to kind of keep things from getting out of hand while you're trying to build that um, combo play and stuff. But I think the really big things that make this deck pop off are, well, there's a couple things. One, between Logos and Saurian, there's a lot of warding. So we've got the Defense Initiative over here and the Forge Compiler, which I guess isn't a ton. Axiom also kind of counts because it the Saurian creatures usually have Amber on them in this deck. And then we also have the Perfectus Ludo, so there's actually a lot of ways to protect your Deusillus when it comes down. There's Imperial Road to get something like Ludo down early if you need it, or if you've turned your Deusillus into a Logos creature, you can still put the Ludo down to protect it. But the Forge Compiler for me is the one that's really done the work. I've had some just filthy plays, knowing my opponent's going to Forge, and the next turn dropping a bunch of these Shadows creatures especially, but also the Deusillus or whatever, which the Deusillus isn't doing as much then because they just Forge, they don't have as much Amber. But it's been fun. But I think the thing that makes this from like a fun Deusillus deck to an actually pretty decent deck is the Shadows house. So there are, let's see, yeah, 8 Shadows creatures, 2 of which are Shadow Council, which one on its own I've never had much luck with. I think I only have it in like 1 or 2 decks maybe, but I've maybe used Shadow Council's action once in my life. And since opening this deck, I think I've activated Shadow Council like 5 times. 2 of them just makes it way more consistent, and having a lot of creatures in shadows just means you have a much better chance of getting Shadow Council to the middle of your line on the turn that you want to use it, which is harder for your opponent to play around, right? Because they may think, oh, it's on the edge of 3 other creatures or 4. You're not going to get it. You're not going to get the steal off of it, and then I just drop 3 more Shadows creatures the next turn and get it. But this one last job is just so dirty. This is the only deck I think I have this card in, but to have it with 8 Shadows creatures, some of which are already stealing if you just leave them on the board, um, it's been really good. So you can kind of use the Deusillus to stall if you need to, capture all of their Amber. They kill it in a turn or 2 usually, and then you come back with this kind of crafted hand of like 5 Shadows creatures, and then the one last job to just blow them out of the water. So it's been a good time. Let's see if we can get a game so I can stop talking about it. Actually, show it. Looks like I might have. We'll see if he starts the game or not. But yeah, I'm just so excited about it. It's been such a blast. So we'll see how it does here. Playing against Coda. Ooh, triple phosphorus stars is not something you see much these days, especially in competitive. But we'll see what we can do here. Let's mulligan that. Just give him some early pressure with the group think tank. This is another card that took a while for me to warm up to, but I've had just some really good stuff happening with this card over the days. Mini group think tank is a little bit trickier to use, but can also be really good. Let's see. Matrix backup, that's fine. Okay, so we've got our armor, we've got the Dark Wave. I think this looks like a fantastic Shadows turn. So we're going to Dark Wave first, we're not hitting any of our own creatures, and then Shadow Council and Gamgee. And this is what I'm saying with the Shadow Council, is like you just have the ammo to get it in the middle. Obviously in this situation it wasn't that difficult, but kind of turn after turn you can really push that threat. Prior Grappling, Cooperative Hunting, and Lost in the Woods. That is really unfortunate. Okay, well, it seems like a great Logos turn. We have a lot of Saurian building up, but a lot of it is kind of requires creatures on both sides of the board, so happy to just kind of let things develop here. Let's see, Dominator. They made the classic mistake of putting their Mind Warper in the middle. It's not my favorite Saurian turn, but I don't mind warding Daughter, and I don't mind killing the Mind Warper, so we'll just go for it here. So we want to Curse of Vanity first, so we can actually gain that Amber off of killing the Mind Warper. Didn't draw another Saurian card, but that's fine. We're going to Beware the Eye, it's the Mind Warper, and then ward our Daughter and not Exalt. Like I said, not an ideal turn with those cards, but could have been worse for sure. Now, one of the problems with the deck is that it does not have artifact control. So that sting could really hurt us, but I feel like they must have used a decent amount of their creature control by now, except for that phosphorus stars, which if they want to start loading up with chains, that is totally fine with me. So we're just gonna drop all of these shadowed creatures. And this is something I'm trying to figure out if this is actually the correct play to drop both of them. Obviously right now one of them is in the middle, and if I had drawn 2 more shadows creatures, the other one would be in the middle. Actually, I think it'd be maybe 2 or 3. I don't know. It's just one of those things where like I have to kind of figure out if it's worth it or not. But here, you know, he's got the sting out, but if he doesn't deal with these, then I start getting the value back from my shadows anyways, so I think I just keep calling this here. So we use this to steal, reap, reap. He does have the TMTP too, so I'm just going to fight this to get it back into circulation. We lost our daughter now, which is a problem. I'm not going to be drawn back up, but again, I wouldn't be surprised, yeah, if he just pops the phosphorus stars on all those. Makes sense. It's done. Drops the Zizix. Okay, so they're getting a lot of value off the sting here. I have to decide if it's worth it to keep these shadows creatures or to just dump them. But I think what I do is throw this academy training on one of them just to get it unstunned, and then we'll see if we can find that one last job, because that's really what we want to see out of this shadows house by the end. Those, and then put that there, and I think I've got the Axiom now, so I think I'm actually just going to discard the Kerzap. I don't really want chains at this point. Oh, and I forgot to unstun. Shoot, going too fast. Oh. It doesn't matter for just kind of one last job. It would have been nice to steal, but in Forge, I feel like they're kind of playing against themselves here. So I don't want to do this yet because of... I think we actually do go Logos. This is where it's unfortunate. I really should have gotten that down. Yeah, let's go ahead and fight this in. Doesn't really matter. Am I okay discarding here? Guess it's the Theros Centurion. Feels pretty bad, but probably hold the Deusillus until he pops the sting. Excuse me. Okay, so fought off the Shadow Council. Makes sense. We're still not in check, which is a problem. I wonder if I just Axiom here. Because I want to play this after they get the value off the sting. So we're kind of giving up our one last job value here, but I think I kind of have to do with that at this point. So we're not going to take our archives. You will capture on this Shadow Council, steal Axiom, and then ward. And I don't think it's worth it to pop that yet. We'll save this for the Deusillus if we get a good turn with it. There we go. It's a TMTP. That'd be a pretty greedy play. Sting isn't doing much for you if you don't let me forge. Nope, not gonna let me forge. Do they have anything good to deal with Deusillus besides Lost in the Woods? Maybe not. So we're just gonna go Logos here and kind of start cycling. No, I probably could have grabbed that, but what am I hoping to find? Okay. They have a key charge. Joda. No Joda though. Okay, so this is the turn we want to pop Deusillus, and we can actually use this to use the Logos creatures here too. So take this, like that. We're not capturing on the rest of these, but we do want to steal first. So we'll steal, and then drop Deusillus on the right to blow up. I think it has to be the Asp. I really want to kill some of these other things. I'll have to fight with these guys to do that. So I guess this doesn't matter as much. Go there. Drop Ludo on the left. Gain that. Use this to fight. Discard. And then fight. So yeah, they're just trying to build up the TMTP now. Which I think means I just play some creatures. They don't have a full board wipe, so they're really just going to be looking for that Lost in the Woods again, which they could get with Nepenthe Seed if they think about it. Which means I should probably be careful with how I'm playing here. See if I can get down to just 0 cards left, but not drawing any more, so that the Deusillus gets shuffled back in, and I can just grab it the next turn. It's tough though. This is definitely a tough match for a deck like this. A deck with no artifact control. Them having the Sting that early was pretty brutal. Okay, kills the Shrix. Doesn't get the Amber back because of Ludo. Works for me. Is there a way for me to kill Ludo right now? Or kill the Deusillus to just blow up all that Amber? I don't think there's a good way to do that in this deck, unfortunately. And I killed the only thing that actually had the power to. But that's okay. We're just going to go Logos. Going to kind of build our board. Keep drawing. Present some threats for... I think think we do. We want to give him as little value from a Chota play as possible. Do I want to discard any of this? Pretty fine. Let's see, one more would draw me through. Nah, we'll leave it. We'll make him answer. Okay, so I still have 3 cards I could purge. I don't love purging Rad Penny, but at this point, the odds of it dying before I draw through my deck are not super high. Goes back into Shadows. Secret Needles, Cumic. An Amber. The Penth Seed for Miasma. Yeah. Feels a little greedy, but dang. That Forge Compiler would not be the worst. Is there anything here I'm willing to give up for that? Vandalize? Let's do it. I'll get slightly greedy. The problem is that means I draw through. I think this discourages a lot, though. Because now Chota play wards my entire board. And here comes the stun. Definitely take me off here. Put Deusillus in the archives. That's rough. Sting is still out though, and they have a lot of amber for me to steal, so we're just going to go to check here. At this point, this doesn't really matter. Let's drop this. Don't need to do that. Red penny, and then we'll do that. Steal back up to 8. And see if they can forge 3 keys in one turn. Or if they have the shadows to take me off, but I don't know if they do. No, they probably have a decent amount of Untamed here. And the Penth Seed is gone, so... And my whole board just got warded. Which, that was... I'm sweaty. That was an intense game. That was not something I thought I was going to win. Playing around, I didn't think about the Massive Abduction. I should look at that card again. Damaged enemy creatures. When did Deusillus get damaged? I must have... Actually, though, when did Deusillus get damaged? Shrix. Did I damage it myself? Deusillus does not have armor and I'm crazy. Oh, it's in their archives. Dang. Can't see it. Deusillus does not have armor. That's good to know. Oh, man. That was intense. But there you go. Like I said, it builds a mean board, and I think I really appreciate that. I really like putting threats out every turn for my opponent, it's basically just tempo, I guess. But even if it's not actually win condition, the more I can play a creature like Tezmal, the more fun I'm having. Even if I don't get to use them, I like to keep my opponent kind of having to swing at me instead of going after um, their own plan. Let's see. We've been going about 25 minutes. Yeah, let's see if we can get one more. So that puts us to 6. I played a game off screen. I believe it's at. Yeah. Let's do one more in competitive. Oh, again? Why does no one want to play with them? That's interesting. I'll try that with them. I don't know. TCO is weird like that sometimes. I should have just clicked join game instead of quick start. Alright. This looks a little bit more rough. Well, it's just a different kind of rough. It might actually be better for me. Furnace and Furnace, Pain Mail. I don't have Dis, so that Pain Mail is not as good. They do have a Gateway and a Mark of Dis. Borrow isn't great. I just want to be careful with the Forge Compiler. Rad Penny. I also have Rad Penny and then Niflkong. Let's look at that. Okay, I am totally fine with this turn. Just get the Shadows house going. Darn it. Safe house. Yeah. I think we are just going to Exalt here to kill the Fidget. I don't want them. There's too many things that I don't really want them to discard. We have a pretty early Deusillus play here, which... Tempting offer. Gives me an Amber 2, that's fine. I think I'm going to hold off one turn on the Deusillus play. Is that correct? I guess I could just do it over 2 turns. Let's just go for it. Nothing to snipe, so it's a little bit sad, but I kind of just want to force out some of those bigger, displays. Furnace. It's going to get 2 pips there. Okay, so I think we do the cheeky Logos play here and make Deusillus a Logos creature. Reap. We're gonna just fight the Infernus, still gets rid of one of the Amber. We're doing a lot of distracting here. Let's see if we can get that Gateway to come down. Implosion for Ludo. That is totally fine with me. We're gonna go... I think we're going Logos again. Not giving me much to work with here. Reap to swap out that guy. Keep forgetting to draw first. That's fine. Okay, we're not seeing Niflkong this turn. That's great. Have some creatures to deal with. Can I actually take him off a key here? I can't. That's kind of sad. I'm totally fine going higher with Logos, though. Reap. Gonna finally fight that off so I actually have some ammo. I think we're gonna dump the Dino Thief here. Question for me is whether I want to actually try to kill this off now so I can recycle it, but I guess I'm drawn through decently fast. Killing the Rad Penny is not what I expected. At least Deusillus, yeah. That's what he's thinking too. Don't mind Saurian here at all. So we'll do this. Takes all the Deusillus because I can get rid of it. Aware the Ides to kill the Dark Fairy. And get back to check. Set up for a pretty good ward here too, but I'm playing one card that turn. Okay. Vandalize is gone. Mugs the Deusillus. Awesome. So of the things they could have borrowed, it was definitely the thing I wanted them to. So go back into Logos, drop this, draw, and blow up Gamgee. Reap, and drop that. We've been pretty lucky, we haven't drawn much shadows yet. But he also keeps discarding my shadows, so... I think I go Saurian and then just pop the Serum. On the right, little defense initiative here. Use this to reap to dump that. Get back to check. Yeah, this was a very lucky draw. I don't think this normally does this well against this deck. I just had a lot of the shadows sitting closer to the bottom of the deck, which is still going to be very good for me because when that shadows gets drawn, I'm going to have a huge one last job. Okay, so marked into Saurian, probably going to gateway here, which will leave me with nothing. Question is, do they have Infernus? They do not. Wow. And they do not actually want the rematch. Alright. Well, cool. There you go. That's the Deusillus deck. It's been a blast, and you can see why. Just pretty quick, but really likes to flood the board. I'll probably do at least one more video of this deck, because it's just been so much fun to play. Like I said, it's kind of one of those wish list decks that in one display I got, and I'm super thankful for that. So, yeah, thanks for watching. We'll see you on the next one.